Imagine finding a tiny old penny that's worth not just hundreds but hundreds of thousands of dollars. Today, we're diving into the top 2 rarest wheat and steel pennies ever made. Their shocking history and sky-high value will blow your mind. Don't blink, your fortune could be hiding. Yes, we're talking about a simple-looking penny from 1943 that could buy you a car, a house, maybe even your dream vacation. This is the story of the 1943 steel penny, and more importantly, the secret version of this coin that is worth a small fortune today. Now, let's go back to the year 1943. World War II was happening, and the US needed copper to make bullets and other war supplies. So the government made a smart move. Instead of making pennies with copper, they switched to steel coated with zinc. That way, they could save copper for the war effort. These steel pennies looked silver or gray instead of the usual brown or red copper color. They were only made for 1 year, and the US Mint produced over 1 billion of them. So, most 1943 steel pennies are not that rare. You might even find one in a collection or coin box, and it might be worth a few dollars or maybe up to $50 or $100 if it's in really good shape. But here's where the story gets exciting. Something strange happened during that year. A few pennies were accidentally made using the old copper blanks from 1942. These were not supposed to exist. But somehow, a few copper blanks got stuck in the machines and were used when the 1943 pennies were being made. The result? A few super rare 1943 copper pennies, the exact opposite of the steel version that was supposed to be made. Only about 10 to 20 of these 1943 copper pennies are known to exist. Yes, you heard that right. Just a handful in the whole world. And because they are so rare and were made by mistake, collectors are willing to pay huge money to own one. One of these rare coins sold for over $100,000. Another one in perfect condition sold for more than $1.7 million at auction. That's right, a penny worth over $1 million. So how can you tell if you have one of these rare coins? First, check the date. If it says 1943, and the color looks like a regular brownish or reddish copper penny, then you might have something special. Use a magnet. If the coin sticks to a magnet, it's a common steel penny. If it doesn't stick, you might be holding a copper version, which could be worth a fortune. But be careful, because some people have tried to fake these coins by changing the date on a 1945 or 1948 penny to make it look like 1943. Others have plated steel pennies to look like copper. That's why serious collectors get these coins tested and graded by professional coin grading companies to make sure they're real. Even the regular 1943 steel pennies can have value. If you have one in mint condition, or one with an error like a double date or misprint, it can be worth more than face value. Some steel pennies with mistakes have sold for hundreds or even thousands of dollars. For example, a 1943 steel penny with a double die error can sell for $1,000 or more depending on its condition. There's also another version of the steel penny that's rare. In 1944, when the mint went back to making copper pennies, a few steel blanks were left in the machines again. So a few 1944 steel pennies were made by mistake. These are also worth big money. One of them sold for over $100,000. That's why both 1943 copper pennies and 1944 steel pennies are considered some of the most valuable coins in American history. So why are these coins so valuable? It all comes down to rarity, mistakes, and collector demand. When a coin wasn't supposed to exist, it becomes special. And when only a few were made or survived, it becomes extremely rare. And when thousands of people want something rare, the price goes way up. That's why these coins are so exciting to collectors. If you're wondering how to check your coins, it's easy to start. Look through old jars, boxes, or even pocket change. You never know what you might find. Check the dates. Look for 1943 or 1944. Test them with a magnet. And if anything looks unusual, do some research or ask a coin expert. It's possible that one small penny could be the most valuable thing you own. Collectors all over the world are still hunting for these coins. They're part of coin shows, auctions, and even featured in museums. These coins are pieces of history, connected to a time when the world was at war and every bit of metal mattered. They tell a story not just about money, but about how something small, even a penny, can carry great value if it's rare and has a story behind it. So next time you see a penny lying on the ground or sitting in a jar, don't ignore it. Take a second look. That little coin might just be worth more than you think. It might even be the legendary 1943 copper penny, the coin that has made news headlines, shocked collectors, and sold for prices most of us only dream of. It's amazing to think that a coin once worth just 1 cent can now be worth over $1 million. That's the magic of rare coins. They're not just metal, they're treasures. So keep your eyes open, check your change, and who knows? Maybe your lucky penny is out there, waiting to be found. Yes, a simple 1941 wheat penny could be worth a fortune if you're lucky enough to find the right one. Stay with me, because by the end of this video you'll know exactly what to look for, how to test your coins, and why one small mistake made this penny so valuable. Let's start with the basics. The 1941 wheat penny was part of the Lincoln Wheat Cent series, which ran from 1909 to 1958. These pennies show Abraham Lincoln on the front and 2 wheat stalks on the back. In 1941, the U.S. Mint produced a huge number of these coins, over 887 million in total. Most of them were made in Philadelphia, Denver, marked with AD, and San Francisco, marked with an S. Because so many were made, regular 1941 wheat pennies are pretty common today. You might find one in a coin roll, an old jar, or from a family collection. In average condition, they're usually only worth 5 to 50 cents. But here's where things get exciting. While most 1941 wheat pennies are common and easy to find, there are some rare versions and error coins that are extremely valuable. And if you find one of those, you could be looking at thousands or even hundreds of thousands of dollars. One of the biggest things that makes a coin valuable is an error during the minting process. These errors can happen in many ways: double strikes, off-center strikes, wrong metal planchets, and more. In the case of the 1941 penny, some of the most valuable coins are those with rare mint errors or unusual features that were not supposed to happen. For example, there's the 1941 double die penny, which is one of the most well-known error types. This happens when the coin die, the stamp that hits the coin, gets slightly misaligned or pressed twice, creating a doubling effect on the lettering or numbers. If you look at the date, 1941, or the words, "In God We Trust," or "Liberty," and you see a clear doubling, that might be a double die. These pennies can be worth $500 to over $5,000, depending on their condition. But it gets even better. There are some extremely rare versions of the 1941 wheat penny that were struck on the wrong metal planchet, meaning the coin was accidentally made using a blank meant for a different coin. For example, a 1941 penny struck on a silver dime blank or a foreign coin planchet could be ultra rare. These mistakes happen because the mint was producing other coins at the same time, and a few blanks got mixed up. These rare error coins have sold at auctions for $10,000 to over $100,000 depending on the type of error and the coin's condition. Now, imagine holding one of those pennies in your hand, a simple copper-looking coin that looks just like the rest, but because of a tiny error or rare condition, it could pay off like a lottery ticket. It's happened before. Collectors and lucky finders have discovered coins like this in rolls from the bank, in their grandparents' change jars, or in old books from estate sales. One extremely rare 1941 wheat penny in perfect, uncirculated condition was sold for over $50,000 because of its grade and rarity. Yes, just one penny. And it wasn't even an error, just in super rare, perfect condition. So how do you know if your 1941 wheat penny is valuable? First, check the mint mark. If there's no letter under the date, it's from Philadelphia. A D means Denver, and an S means San Francisco. While all three versions were made in large numbers, certain errors are more likely from certain mints. Next, look at the condition of the coin. Coins are graded from poor, P1, to mint state, MS 70. The closer your coin is to mint state, the more valuable it can be. A common 1941 penny might only be worth cents, but that same coin in mint state condition with no scratches or wear can sell for hundreds or even thousands of dollars. Then, look for anything unusual. Does the lettering look doubled? Does the coin look too shiny or too silver, like it might not be copper at all? Does the design look off-center or does it have weird marks or ridges that seem out of place? These are clues that you might be looking at an error coin. And here's a pro tip, use a magnet. A normal 1941 wheat penny is made of 95% copper and 5% zinc. It should not stick to a magnet. If your penny sticks, something might be wrong or you may have a different type of error or fake. Either way, it's worth checking. If you think you have a rare or valuable penny, don't clean it. That can destroy the value. Instead, keep it safe and take it to a local coin shop or send it to a professional grading service like PCGS or NGC. These companies can confirm if it's real and give it an official grade, which can dramatically increase its value at auction. People around the world are collecting Lincoln wheat pennies, especially rare dates like 1909 SVDB, 1914 D, 1922 No D, and yes special 1941 error coins. The market is hot, and coins in top condition or with rare features can sell for more than you might believe. So don't underestimate that old penny sitting in your house. It might just be a rare 1941 wheat cent with a mistake or in high grade that collectors are dying to get their hands on. That's the magic of coin collecting. You never know what treasure is hiding in plain sight.